All right, so coming at you a little differently this time, but real quick, what I wanted to talk about was that most people, most average dog owners struggle with simply almost doing nothing with their dog, right? We're constantly worrying about the dog, constantly worrying about how they feel, what they're doing. Did they play enough? Did they get enough time with dogs? Did they go to the beach? It's just constantly doing and doing and doing and doing and manifesting over it. And what the result of that is that your dog doesn't know how to not do anything, doesn't know how to relax because we're constantly catering to the dog. So I think it's hindering your relationship when we're constantly trying to negotiate with our dogs, which is a reason why your dog doesn't listen, right? Again, I went over that yesterday, 2 reasons why a dog doesn't listen. But we're asking them to do things without having a leash on. We're asking them to do things that they don't understand. We're asking them to do things when, they're distracted. And a lot of times we're asking them to do things more for maybe what we want from them in terms of for our own selfish wants and needs versus what is best for the dog, right? So one thing that I don't hear from people, I almost never hear this from people, is, well, what's best for the dog? Right? When someone wants to inquire about, training or they need advice or whatever, however we could help them, most people do not open with, well, tell me what you think is best for my dog, right? Or tell me, honey, sit down, sit, sit. Or hey, look, this is my situation. This is my dog. This is what I'm trying to get, my goal is where I'm trying to go. Tell me what's best, right? What I often get instead is, we don't think he needs that. We don't think he needs board and train. We don't think he needs to go for 3 weeks. Well, he's great with this. We don't think he needs that. He needs this. But in reality, you don't know what the dog needs. If you did, then we wouldn't be talking, right? You wouldn't be needing our service, or you wouldn't be needing help if you knew what the dog needed, right? So I'm always coming from the place of what is best for the dog, right? So whether that's in our care or even simply with you, what is best for the dog? Not what is best for you, because most of the time you've gotten yourself into the situation that you are with your dog because you've done what's best for you. Simple, right? Where human is a very selfish creature, and we often just get dogs, obviously, just for us, right? And not really understanding that, what the dog is going to require from us in order for them to have, a healthy, balanced life, right? So again, we're never approached with what is the best for the dog. What do you think is the best option, right? I have had that happen where someone says, hey, what's your recommendation for the best option here, right? And we have had people who are like, hey, well, if 3 weeks is good, 4 weeks is probably better. And then we've had the dog here for 4 weeks, and then they said, hey, do you think that keeping her for an extra week is beneficial? And I'm like, heck yeah. And they're like, great. If 5 weeks means a better dog, then that's what we want, right? So you see, they want better dog, right? That person wanted better dog. They didn't say, oh my gosh, we miss the dog so much we can't handle it, right? That's all selfish, guys. And really, it's going to be very hard to get to your goals if that's the way you're operating, right? Because we need some delayed gratification. We need some, honey, sit down, sit down. We need some, we have to wait for things. You have to put work in. And again, we have to teach our dogs how to do nothing. We also have to teach the owners how to do nothing. We have to teach you guys how to do nothing with your dog. Don't be constantly worrying about, if they're getting everything they need. Well, again, you're worrying about the wrong things. You're worrying about if they're getting everything they need the wrong way instead of the right way, right? Leadership and structure and boundaries and rules and guidance and, accountability. That's what dogs need, because that's what's going to bring confidence. That's what's going to bring the ultimate companion side that you want. Worrying about it the way that most people do gives you anxiety, right? Gives you overprotectiveness. Here comes my dogs. Go lay down. Go to bed. Gives you overprotectiveness, reaction, right? Insecurity. Gives you all the problems, right? Gives you all the problems. So the idea is, it's like, what are we doing to solve those issues? How come we don't have the same issues that the average dog owner has, right? Well, because we're doing all of these things over here and not these things. Okay, so we really have to learn how to almost do nothing with our dogs. Don't worry so much about if they're getting all X, Y, and Z and toys and playtime and, you know, all this extra stuff. It's all extra, okay? So, and then again, in reality, it's then teaching your dog not to be that way, right? It's teaching your dog to be anxious, to worry about those things, to be demanding, to get everything that they want, that mom and dad are going to cater to them, that they really don't have to listen to anything, and that they can negotiate everything that is, told to them, right? Every requirement that's given to them, they can negotiate it because they feel like they can. So unfortunately, some things, well, a lot of things with our dogs are non-negotiable. They're not, because the dog doesn't know better, right? Again, we're coming from the place of seeing the worst that happens with dogs when we don't do these things. And so some things just need to be non-negotiable because it's a dog and it doesn't know what's best for them, right? And in reality, here again is where we're saying most average dog owners don't know what's best for their dogs because they're not coming from that state of mind of saying, okay, you're the expert here. You're the one that day in and day out for years has showed us every single day that this is what you do, right? That's what we do. So it's very interesting that people don't come to us and say, yeah, like, all right, cool, like whatever you say, right? They want us to help them and to help them get results, but within their own boundaries. Right? They're like, I want X, Y, and Z, but I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it my way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You have to do it the way that works. Okay? If that was the case, then your way would be working. And again, we wouldn't be talking. Right? So I understand. I think it really comes down to a lot of, at least in terms of like a board and train or sending your dog somewhere. Yes, unfortunately, you have to relinquish control, right? Yes. You have to give up control and say, okay, my dog is going there and I trust this person's expertise and they've been, I have a proven track record and it's out of my control, right? So that's often what happens is people want us to do these things and to provide the service, but like you still want control of it. And again, unfortunately, if you were able to do that correctly, then you wouldn't need us. You wouldn't need us. So it's kind of discouraging sometimes when we have to sort of navigate that with people where we're like, look, you're having problems because of, these reasons that we just said, and you're not allowing us to do what we need to do because you're trying to micromanage, right? So, yeah, which is also why, before we do any type of board and train, you guys know that I've talked to you at length, right? To say, hey, this is how it goes. These are the expectations from my side, from your side, and we cover everything A through Z so that we have a clear understanding of what needs to be done and how it's gonna play out through the program, right? So part of that is also for me to see, is this a good fit? Is this someone that we should work with? Is this someone who's on board with what we're trying to do? So again, right now the whole theme of this was almost learning to do nothing. Learn to just coexist. Teach your dog to just coexist. If we're constantly catering to them and worrying about them and negotiating with them, we're not going to be able to teach just coexist. Sit down. Sit down. So like even here, guys, even here, I need Honey to sit down. I don't, I mean, she's going blind, so she kind of moves around a lot, but she just needs to sit down, right? So there's no negotiation. Don't let your dog just stand up and still be manifesting about getting off when I just need her to sit down because we're doing this right now, right? So again, some things are non-negotiable, okay? So if I'm sitting here and I ask my dog to stay seated in my lap, that's what I need her to do right now, okay? So I know we kind of jumped around here and touched some different points, but again, even here, I need Honey to do nothing right now while we're having this conversation, right? Or I guess I'm having a conversation here, not we, but I'm talking to you. So I need her to do nothing right now. Instead, I could have been like, oh my gosh, hold on, guys. Like, what does Honey want? Do you want to get off? What do you want? What do you need? You need treats? What do you need, Honey? What do you need? Right? Honey doesn't need anything. Honey just needs to lay down and relax. She's with Dad. Dad's taking care of everything. You just lay down and relax. That's what we need you to do, right? That's your job, Honey, is to take direction, right? And to make sure that she's following through with the direction that's given to her. That's her job, right? So, yeah, that's a big one there. Coming at you a little bit differently here from, my little space here. It's a little different look. Thought I would just kind of sit down and, speak a little bit here and probably do a little bit more of these. It's a little different again without me being on leash with a dog or out walking and kind of relax a little bit more. Fortunately, you got Dia and Micah over here chewing on their bones, so you're probably hearing that in the background. But yeah, so I've got some more stuff planned. Again, always thinking about things for you guys, mindset stuff, actual, because that's mindset stuff is the most important part, guys. The physical training is easy, staying on top of your mindset on why things are important, not only on your side, but your dog side is huge. And that's half of the battle. So remember to pay attention to who's giving you the advice, right? Bottom line is we don't have the same problems that the average dog owner has with our dogs. So obviously what we're doing is working, right? So to try to have someone like ourselves, professionals, play within some type of bounds that you want is not the correct way to do it, right? If our program is a 3-week program, like guys, why do you think it's 3 weeks? You think we just chose that number out of the air? Like just said, oh, let's just choose 3 weeks. Absolutely not. There's a reason why it's 3 weeks, right? There's a reason because after that second week, the dog just makes so much more progress, okay? Now, if someone were to again say, hey, what's the best option? What do you got? What's the best? This is what we're looking for. What's the best? I'm going to say 4 weeks. All right? I'm going to say 4 weeks. Let me even layer in a little bit of e-collar training at the end of that last week there. Give you better tools. Give your dog a better understanding, which will allow you for some more freedom. Like that's the best option. Okay? So 3 weeks is our minimum, right? 4 weeks is if someone wants a really, really good dog. Okay, 4 weeks is a good dog, or 3 weeks is a good dog. 4 weeks is a really, really good dog. Okay, makes things a lot more easier for you because it's been conditioned a lot more, right? So when someone says, hey, can we do 3 days, 4 days, 5 days? Like, of course you could. Now, of course we can. Doesn't mean we're going to. Okay, doesn't mean we're going to. But of course you could. But, for someone to say, well, again, we don't really think he needs that, or we don't want him to feel like he's been abandoned. Guys, again, that's all you. That's all you. That has nothing to do with what is best for the dog. So that's just really being selfish there on your side and really just kind of trying to hold your dog back, really. You're holding your dog back, right? So again, there's a reason why we choose 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. It's like just as long as it's taken for your dog to develop the bad habits that you're seeing, guys, it's going to take that amount of time to eradicate them and replace them with new ones. Now, again, it's a lot easier for us because we're doing this all the way across the board very consistently, 24/7. Okay, so it is doable. It is. You would have to, if you want it done that fast, you're going to have to actually follow what we're doing. But it takes time to teach things, to condition it, and to establish that as a habit. Okay, so when someone says, I only want 5 days of training, well, you're not really committed, right? You're not committed and don't have a clear understanding of what it takes to develop a habit. Sit down. Sit down. Lay down. Okay, lay down. Stop moving. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Stop moving. So don't have an understanding of what it takes to develop a habit, right? So it takes a long time, okay? So again, I just really feel like there's too much operating from the owner's emotion. Okay, that's why there's so many problems, and it's really holding the dog back. It's holding you back. It's holding your relationship back. And yes, I always tell everyone that a board and train program is always harder on the owner than it is the dog, because sure, the dog is going to be slightly stressed for a little while as it adjusts and learns new things and is challenged at a higher level for sure. But really, it's just the owners missing their dogs. I mean, it's you guys that just absolutely misses your dog, but your dog is busy. They're doing things. And, they're such in the moment creatures that look, they don't forget about you, but they totally feel like, okay, well, this is where we are now. I guess this is my home. I guess these are my new owners, right? So they don't forget, but they do let it soak in that this is where we are now, right? So yeah, that's kind of that idea with that. Again, we'll break down more across the board with all of our understanding. But that was what I wanted to touch on for now. Okay, Mama.